So, Deltarune is a sequel to the No Mercy route of Undertale, cutting straight to the chase. Is this theory correct? Probably not. I feel it has a lot of holes I can't explain, but I really feel like I'm right about something here. And in creating a timeline, I hope you guys can pick it apart and find the actual gold in there, but anyway, let's start from the beginning. Undertale lore. Chara and Azrael die, Asgore goes crazy, this we know. I propose Asgore tasked his then royal scientist Gaster to bring them back. We know this is something that he was obsessed with given Alphys' research in the True Lab, bringing recently deceased monsters back from the dead. Successfully? Kinda. And given Lab Entry 17, we can assume she's picking up where Gaster left off. Dark, darker yet darker. The darkness keeps growing. The shadows cutting deeper. Photon readings negative. Blah blah blah. You get it. You've heard it 1,000 times. It's very safe to say Gaster created a dark fountain based on this text. I think that's generally accepted at this point, but to go further, I don't think he simply created a dark fountain, but rather the literal video game we play, Deltarune. He literally says this directly to us. How this fits into my theory? I don't know. Anyway, why would Gaster create a dark world to bring two kids back to life? Well, we see in chapter 4 that the dark world of the church brings Gus and Boom back to life, and away, when the dark world is created around his ashes. So, Gaster creates the dark world to bring Azrael and Chara back to life, and then falls into his creation. Scattered through it is an omnipresent consciousness. Our phone picks this up whenever we try to use it in the dark world. The same sound comes from the bunker in the overworld. We know there's a dark world in there, as we see when I mean the Knight, flies into it. Basically, Gaster is heavily linked to everything in the world of Deltarune. Now, the controversial part. Why do I think this world is a result of the No Mercy route? Well, at the end of this route, Chara speaks directly to Frisk, or us? Is there a difference in this case? Whatever. They wish to erase this world and move on to the next. Refusal leads to Chara telling us we're not in control and crashing the game. Reloading pulls up a black screen with a hollow wind blowing, and after some time she reappears. And after a short conversation, agrees to bring the world back in exchange for our soul, something that she lacks. The game then restarts and their promise is fulfilled. I propose, after you give Chara your soul, a connection is made with Gaster as seen on Twitter before Chapter 1's release. It's cold. It's as if everything had been enveloped in a black wind. You don't realise it yet, but it seems that there's someone who wants to talk with you. Ooh. This sets the scene directly in the post-No Mercy void with the black wind. The tweets then go on to depict Gaster seemingly creating the world of Deltarune with you, me, the player. So, a dark fountain is created in an underground where everyone is dead, which brings them all back to life just as we saw with Gerson. But this world has a prophecy. We see in the dark worlds created during the course of the game that they come into being with a history already in place. Shawm's history with Jevil and Spamton's history, this character called Mike who's omnipresent. Anyway. The prophecy states, "For millennia, light and dark have lived in balance, bringing peace to the world. But if this harmony were to shatter, a terrible calamity would occur. The sky will run black with terror, and the land will crack with fear. Then, her heart pounding, the earth will draw her final breath. Only then, shining with hope, 3 heroes appear at world's edge. A human, a monster, a prince from the dark. Only they can seal the fountains and banish this angel's heaven." Yeah. I propose the calamity in question has already happened. The No Mercy timeline. At the end, Chara states directly that you pushed everything to its edge, led the world to its destruction. The prophecy also says only then will 3 heroes appear, and we see these heroes in the game. The world has already ended. I say the prophecy says we are set to destroy the world of Deltarune, to banish the angel's heaven. We saw in Undertale that the angel is Azrael, and if my theory is right, Gaster created the world of Deltarune as a way for Azrael to live on after death. An angel's heaven. As for Gaster, it seems he's on our side, the player's side. He encourages us to beat the Knight to achieve their Shadow Crystal. What are Shadow Crystals? In the Dark World, they're said to be invisible, seen only by the shadow they cast. In the Light World, they're said to be glass. I believe these crystals are the key to destroying the false reality of Deltarune. When you look through one in the Light World, Chris sees through the hand. I think this hints at their ability to see through the illusion. The same happens more drastically when interacting with what seems to be some form of shadow crystal from the gacha machine in Chapter 3. Gaster must have wanted the destruction of this world for some reason. To become whole again? No idea. I believe after the destruction of the world of Deltarune, the world of Undertale will be restored, and you go on to achieve the passive standing. A side theory I'm still cooking says that the prophecy actually depicts the Snowgrave or Weird Root, or that there are two prophecies. It's pretty obvious that the girl that we see in Chapter 4's prophecy isn't Susie, but it's actually Noelle, given the appearance of the ring, and their wielding of a sword, which I believe is the sword made of the shadow crystals. I'm still working on that one, let me know your thoughts. If this theory wasn't already on shaky legs, this is where she starts shaking. Remember, I'm just trying to pan for gold here, I'm picking up a lot of dirt. Anyway, in the game we play as Chris, a vessel controlled by our soul, us. I suggest that Chris is Chara after we gave them our soul at the end of the No Mercy route. The visual resemblance is obvious, not to mention their classic knife and red eyes, but what does Chara want here? To be reunited with their brother? I think so. Ralsei bears a ridiculously striking resemblance to Azrael, including the anagram of his name. Side note on anagram names, Chris is so close to being Frisk, just minus the F. Insane theory. Could Chris be a reference to them harboring Frisk's soul, minus the F for freedom? Probably not. Anyway, Ralsei is special. They know the prophecy, totally. They can exist in all dark worlds, and they're clearly connected to Azrael, someone we know exists outside of these dark worlds. We know darkness are created from objects in the light world, with Ralsei most likely being Chris's red horns they wore as a kid. Could this be a representation of the fusing of human and monster soul we saw with Chara and Azrael during Chara's plan? We see the golden flowers represented a lot, including in Asgore's shop. Speaking of Asgore, he's involved in some conspiracy related to the Dark Worlds, working with the Knight and Carol. We see the corkboards, we see Chris is uncomfortable with corkboards. Whatever Asgore did in relation to this conspiracy got him expelled from this police force, led to a divorce, a breakup of the family, a general ostracization. I don't know. That's not what this theory is about. But we see in Chapter 4 he's referred to as being in Asylum, depicting him as he was in Undertale, most notably the Crown, being a king. Could he be in Asylum from the No Mercy Underground? One of the things that first got me thinking on the No Mercy sequel was the appearance of Metaton Neo's body, rusty and broken in Chapter 2. What's of note for this theory is that this form of Metaton only appears in the No Mercy route. Now Sans has clearly brought his home and Grilby's here from the underground. He states during a conversation with Frisk that he gave up trying to go back a long time ago. During this conversation, the song It's Raining Somewhere Else plays, and we find out the world of Deltarune is the place where it rained in Chapter 4. This obviously implies that he's from Deltarune, but if he was from the world of Deltarune, how could he have the pre-existing Grilby's bar with him? In his basement we see blueprints, a broken machine, and a drawing of 3 people labelled Don't Forget. Originally this was thought to be Sans, Papyrus, and Gaster, but after the release of Deltarune, people say it's the 3 protagonists, with the Don't Forget being the main motif of Deltarune. This is quite obvious, but my theory suggests that the No Mercy route of the Underground is the home he's referring to, before the end of Deltarune resets everything. As you can see, I'm starting to reach here. Side theory, this is absolutely not true, but it would be the funniest thing ever if the machine in Sans' basement was actually the thrashing machine that you design. This is based on nothing but the fact blueprints exist for both. This final point is a bit reachy, but it's very important for this theory to hold any water. We see the Knight make another dark fountain within a dark world. This could mean that dark worlds can exist within dark worlds, which has to be true for my theory to make any sense, with the light world of Deltarune being a dark world created by Gaster as an afterlife for Azrael and Chara. I'm reaching, okay? This is just me throwing theories at a wall and seeing if something sticks. I already said I don't think this theory is correct, and there's tons of evidence to support other theories, but I really think there is something here. Some connections are too strong. Gaster speaking to you in the black wind of the No Mercy ending, Chara taking your soul, the world's edge, Metaton Neo, Asgore in Asylum, shadow crystals seeing through the light of the world, the Angel's Heaven. The Angel's Heaven is a big one. But That's it. That's all I've got to say. Rip it to pieces in the comments, please. That's why I'm making this video. I need you guys to figure out what I think I'm thinking, because I don't know myself. Thank you for listening. Game theory.